Any question that you would like to ask Lisa Gamoyan?
I think the time is better spent giving that back to the audience for additional questions. I would like to focus my campaign on my affirmative, what I affirmatively bring to the table and what I can do for the community rather than attack her career.
And Lisa?
I do have a question. Ms. Hill commented that Mr. Hunt had written a letter for her when she had submitted her judicial application to the governor. Under how many governors have you submitted applications? And in connection with that, since you were in the district attorney's office, over 20 lawyers have been appointed to the bench over you. So my question is, what comments and feedback and criticisms are you receiving from the Jenny Commission, and what are your responses?
I have put in 3 applications over time. The first actually was back when there was a municipal court. I have been interested in serving on the bench for an extremely long time, since I feel that with my background and experience, that's where I can do the most good with the skill set that I bring to the table. That actually was recommended to me by Ed Hunt at the time that I submit my application. I believe at the time the criticism I got was that I lacked sufficient experience. I think I'd only been practicing law for 6 years, and that was when there was a municipal court and those were the standards. I have submitted my name under other governors. I have received at least 2 qualified or exceptionally well qualified ratings. I don't think that there's any concerns. I understand that other people who are extremely well qualified have been appointed to the bench ahead of me. There may be people who are appointed ahead of, or who have been appointed ahead of you in terms of putting your name in for commissioner. I know that I received a last round interview. I don't believe that occurred in your case. So I don't think that any particular effort at putting your name in for a judicial position, whether it be as a commissioner or as a judge, is indicative of a lack of qualifications. I think my endorsements from the judges who have seen me in action, have seen me try cases, more than speak for my abilities.
I'm retired Fresno PD, Robert Arndt. I'm also a member of the Fresno Police Officers Association. Question to you, Lisa, is can you describe how important it is to get that law enforcement background and who has endorsed you from the law enforcement community?
Those that know me best, that have worked with me in the last 25 years in the trenches, know my commitment to Fresno County and to the safety of our community, have endorsed me.
The role of a judge is different than the role of a prosecutor. I understand the role of a prosecutor. I respect the role of a prosecutor. That is the one job I did longer than any other job that I've had, was being a prosecutor. However, I do think that the judges have seen, have had the opportunity to see the work ethic of both of us, see our abilities in trial, see our judgment at work, see the degree to which we exhibited the qualities that they look for in a judge, including fairness, including being unbiased, and having a broader perspective. I am very honored by the endorsements that I have gained. I think also my experience in the civil community. As I said, I worked for McCormick Barstow, and I worked in complex civil litigation for 5 years. I've gotten to know many members in the civil bar, and I believe that they've respected my ability in that regard. I've worked for many members of now the judiciary. When I was at McCormick Barstow, Oliver Wanger happened to be my very first boss. He knew my work ethic intimately. I recall a Friday night in the library at about 11 o'clock at night at the office where he looked at his watch and he said, "You know, it's getting a little late. Why don't we just come back here tomorrow at 7? Hey, yeah, you bet. And he got you so enthused about your cases and your responsibility and the understanding that you have a fiduciary responsibility that needs to sublimate any of your personal interests to those of your client. And that was ingrained in me, and I think that was understood in all of the areas that I practiced in, that I needed to put the interests of the community, the interests of my client, before any personal concerns that I had. I took that seriously. I have worked hard, and I believe that I have done well and developed a reputation that is certainly evidenced by those endorsements.
I don't think that that is all that accurate of a characterization
It is
of the
accurate.
endorsement.
It is
Well,
accurate.
I have the Prosecutors Association, and that's over 100
That's why we
attorneys
tried
right
to
there.
be individual
So-
attorneys.
Well, those are 100 individual attorneys, and I have garnered that endorsement. I also likewise have judicial endorsements. But the fact of the matter remains,
That
I am
wasn't my-
still,
my
No,
question.
no, hold on here. I mean, the question is, you know, why does she think she got so many judges to endorse her? And Lisa, I understand you may not want to answer that. You may
I
want
am
to take,
answering.
okay.
I was going to answer that if I could have a chance, please.
But also an opportunity to explain why you think you have the endorsements that you have as well.
Well, I have the endorsements because those individuals and those organizations have told me that. They have endorsed me. I also have judicial endorsements as well. But the fact of the matter remains, I know what I have to say is somewhat critical of the bench. And I guess to a certain extent it is, but I think it is important that we are critical of ourselves, that we are constantly examining what we're doing, if we're doing it right, if we can do a better job. I've been in those courtrooms for probably more years than most of the judges now sitting on the bench. I do have that experience, and I'm not a pushover. I know when I go into a courtroom that I make everyone work because my cases go to trial, my cases go to preliminary hearing. They don't settle. I do take the court's time, and oftentimes I'm criticized for that, but that's my job, and I take my job seriously in representing our community and taxpayers. And likewise with judges, as I've said, you're stewards of taxpayer money and you're stewards of the taxpayers. You are their servant, not vice versa. And I think that my message is interpreted as being critical to judges.